going to take the North and never give it back.
So that's a good pick. You get the corner. I got to go bold, right? I got to go bold for this.
Yeah, she's got some nice long hair.
Welcome back to the Unbearable Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Barron. Make sure to like and subscribe so you do not miss a show. And it is the end of day 2. One selection for the Chicago Bears. Kiran Amegadjie out of Yale, offensive tackle. We previewed him before the show in the morning, and he was someone that we highlighted very, very heavily as someone that the Bears would most likely be targeting. And what do you know? He ends up being the pick, and now we're going to break this down. They don't go defensive line. So my question to you, the people, how do you feel? But also, thanks again for all the support that you've been giving this show throughout the draft process. And tomorrow I will be going through best available for pick 122 and what I think is going to happen, because I said this earlier this morning. I think that the Bears are going to trade out of that 122 spot. It's what the Bears do. It's what Ryan Poles does. He trades that and he gets one pick and then he gets another one as well. That's what he always seems to do. So that is my best guess on what he's actually going to do tomorrow. So we'll be covering a lot of day 3 prospects that you need to be looking out for. And if you can't wait till then, we have a sleepers guide that is just all 3rd round prospects. And if you haven't already, the draft guide is out there. Make sure to download it. It also has a draft profile on Kiran as well. So you can see that just linked down below in the description. Joe, what is good, my friend? It bear down indeed. I feel like we're going to get more sleep tonight, though, after how Kiran was drafted. It's not as hyped, but I wanted to really just kind of go through today and talk about why I actually like the pick. Now, I'm not head over heels. I'm not going to be that way, but I really like the pick because Bears go offensive tackle, which is not what a lot of people expected, and including myself. And I actually had a little text chat going and was hanging out with some people watching the draft. And they're like, so where are the Bears going to go? And I was like, 2 ways. It's either going to be Austin Booker or Kiran Amegadjie. What do you know? They go with the offensive tackle route. And yeah, there's some surprise with that as well. But let's actually talk a little bit about the player, about going with the tackle. So why did we feel like they might go that route? Well, first off, he was someone that they met within the top 30 visits. Also, the Bears love hometown boys, and he is from Illinois. So the Bears love that. All that stuff lines up. But the reason why I'm also super high on him is I really like him. Compared to the other tackles that are out there, I was very aggressive with the way that I graded my tackles. I was not a fan, relatively speaking, I was not a big fan of like a Tyler Guyton or a Kingsley Suamataia out of BYU. Kiran was one of my top tackles. I have him as a starter with questions right behind J.C. Latham, but above Patrick Paul, Tyler Guyton, Blake Fisher, and Kingsley Suamataia. And I firmly believe that. I would have actually taken him over all of those players because I really, really like this. I like this player. I think that he's a solid player, and to me, reminds me of Braxton Jones. Also, Chicago style. What is going on, Triple R? How are you? The power of polls compels you, and bear the F down indeed for sure. So let's keep on breaking down Amegadjie, the new Chicago Bear for the Chicago Bears. Let's flip over to the next little piece, his actual draft profile. So what I could tell you about him: 6'5", 323. He has 36-inch arms. This guy is crazy length. Skokes, what's good, my friend? Yeah, I agree. Like the Braxton Jones comp, it just screams that. And I said this earlier this morning, but I'll just reiterate this. The way that he plays out in zone running games only reminds me of how excellent Braxton Jones was when we saw him, especially in that rookie year. It was just incredible. The way that he moves, the way that he's out in space, and it's not like a Darnell Wright where he gets his hands on you. He's just going to pile drive you into the ground. It's the movement skills. It's the hands. It's the arms. He's got all the traits that you want in a tackle. And Mark, what is good, my friend? Bear down indeed. And ultimately, to me, Kiran is a developmental tackle. He could play guard. And that's another thing to look at as well, is let's say Nate Davis doesn't look great. Guess who played right guard in college 2 years ago? He did. And also he played left tackle the year before that, but he did have a hamstring injury or hamstring or quad, and he was out he was only there for 4 days. Or 4 games. So he didn't really play a lot last year, but when you look at the grades itself, the grades speak for itself. 87.9 run grade, 87.8 zone grade. Like I said, the tape backs up the grades. One of the best zone run blockers that are out there, which you know the Bears are going to love in this system. 79.9 pass grade, allowed 5 pressures, 98% efficiency, which is very good. But this is someone that you like to have. And I think ultimately, is he going to push Braxton Jones for a starting job? No. I would be shocked if he was. I think he's going to be more of pushing like the Nate Davis potentially. Like if he starts balling out, they might go, you know what? Maybe we could put him at guard. And also what Sports Chicago Style just mentioned, Tev on the bubble, injuries, and contract year. That is, to me, the bigger question is at the guards position. He can play guard, and we know that Tevin will eventually be injured. I think that this is a perfect opportunity for him to kind of get slotted in, take some snaps, and from a developmental prospect perspective, I think that this is a phenomenal pickup. Also, James, what is good, my friend? Also, Mark saying too, he has to be pretty smart because, got into Yale. And that's the thing too. He's just smart player. All the physical attributes that you want out of a tackle, out of a guard, and that's where he truly is a tackle. He plays a little bit high with his pads, though. I'd like to see him just come down a little bit, so very, very upright. But this is where Chris Morgan and Ryan Poles were salivating off of this guy. Like, you see him play, and a good coach can take this player and make him awesome. That's why it reminds me a lot of Braxton Jones, where Braxton had very, very good college tape. Yet again, very similar college tape to Braxton Jones. This guy has all the traits just like Braxton Jones. And if you can get another good starting offensive lineman in the 3rd round, sign me up. I think he has a better potential than Braxton Jones for sure, because I know some people are like, another Braxton Jones. Braxton Jones isn't bad. Braxton Jones I don't think he would become an elite tackle. And that's where I like this. I like this selection. I like this a lot. If the Bears want to try and solidify this line, I think it's good. And I'm just kind of curious to see what the grades are. We have 4% at D, 15% at C, 59% at B, and 22% at A. And I'm right there with the consensus. I'm kind of in that B range. I think it's a solid player. I don't think it addresses this obviously it doesn't address this gigantic need. I've been one of the big people that have said, like, I didn't necessarily understand some of the tackle piece, like drafting a tackle early, but I do think that this solidifies the offensive tackle and even like some of the guard positions because of what he can do. Also, we know that the Bears don't necessarily love not Braxton Jones, Larry Borom. I'm curious if they're looking to then trade Larry Borom at a time like this where Larry only has 1 year left. Some of the teams that I might want to call up, why not call up the Chiefs? The Chiefs have Matt Nagy, who also really, really liked Larry Borom. You can say, hey, we got Larry. He's a solid backup in your system. You can get him. He looked good. Like, he was a solid backup in the Matt Nagy era, but just in the Luke Getsy system and last year, it just really didn't look all that great. So I would call someone up, see if you can try and move a Larry Borom and get like a 7th round pick, a 6th round pick, just someone that you can at least add to the roster. Because you also, if we look at the depth chart overall, we have a solid amount of tackles on this team too. We have Braxton Jones, Kiran Amegadjie is then the backup for him, and then also right tackle Darnell Wright and Larry Borom. and then also Jake Curhan. Also remember Matt Pryor that we signed as well. I think that you have a solid amount of depth at tackle. Where does Larry fit into all of this is just one of those questions for sure. So Borom, and then also too, I just saw the question out there too. Bears Junkie, what is good, my friend? Saying Larry Borom is gone, and yeah, Borom probably gone at a minimum. That's what I'm thinking too. Nick saying, rock on. You're one of the best Bears podcasters. I appreciate that, my friend. That lifts my spirits a bunch. I love that. Thank you so much. And James saying too, he looks better than Jones coming out of college. I do agree for sure. And Borom's contract, I see sports style, Chicago style saying $3 million per year. I want to say it is that. Like, I want to say that Borom this final year is around like $2 million or so. Like, I know that it was like you could save $2 million if you got rid of him because it's his last year for sure. So you could trade him away, get some sort of player in the 7th round, 6th round, whatever it might be. I don't really mind that at all. And also, like we said, this is a very flexible player, has played right guard, has started at right guard, started at left tackle, smart, and just a good player overall. Now, the big question is, what do you do with the remainder of your draft? Because overall, this is a solid pick. So actually, just to kind of like recap what is going to happen next. So tomorrow we'll break down best available like we have been doing as well. If the Bears want to go pure offense, they can with a center if they really want to do that. But the defense is clearly a need still because they have not addressed it at all in the NFL draft. We've talked about the free agent defensive ends that they can bring in, but we'll see if some of the good top defensive ends will drop to 122. Who are they? We'll be breaking that down next tomorrow morning. So make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell because Lord knows when I will actually go live. So make sure to do that. But also, before we get headed out, let's just kind of bring it up this way. Overall, the pick to me is a B. It's a good player. One of my favorite offensive linemen that you could get late. He was actually kind of like a sleeper, if you will, from the offensive line position. So in that sense, I really like the pick. But does it really address a need? Not so much. It fills out the roster, so it does do that, but it's not giving you any sort of impact this year. That's why I'm not giving it like anything in the A's, but also because I like the player, I'm not giving it a C. So to me, this is a B selection, and I like it. Nothing wrong with it. But hey, you already got 2 A+ in the beginning. You got an A+ round 1. This is a solid selection that you get at pick 75 because if it works out, you got a starter. And if it doesn't, hey, you're already going to miss like a third of the draft picks already in day 2. So might as well go for someone that has incredibly high stuff that is out there. Also, Sports Chicago Style saying, what's up with Jay Money? Yes, he will not be coming back to the show. He's just got a whole bunch of stuff going on with life and work and everything like that. So I always try to get him on in the comment section, but you know, he's a busy man nowadays, but I still hang out with him. He's my brother. So for those that don't know, Johnny PayPal, my former co-host, we still hang out all the time. He was over yesterday. Today, he had some stuff. So, and Mark saying too, you're my favorite Bears podcaster. Thank you so much. And also thank you for appreciating the hard work. And I saw some comments out there too, and it really made my day too. Cause all these graphics I put together and like it's all the time. And I love this, right? I love the draft. I love the Bears. I love you guys. I love interacting with all of you. So you all make it amazing. And Muck saying too, I would love to see Dorless in the 4th round. That is another piece. Dorless is very interesting that he's still hanging around. Screams Ryan Poles, right? He screams like a Bears that we would love to see. But then Squeegee comes in with don't forget about tight end 3, right? Like we have still a lot of little tiny holes that we got to start filling out. And that's where the trade back, I think, kind of fits in here, is that you start trading back, you start trying to add some assets, and I think ultimately 122 will be moved for sure. So we'll have to see. So let's see this overall. But hey, we got to get some shut-eye. It is 11 o'clock. So that tomorrow morning, I'll be posting out a live show. So make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. Have a great night, everyone. And with that Unbearable Sports Podcast, we are out.
Yeah, she's got some nice long hair and